I'm Becky.
And I'm Lindsay, and today we're here talking about digging deep and when things get tough and when things don't always work out the way you planned.
Yeah, I always go to the song from Princess and the Frog. As soon as you hear that, I'm always like, you gotta dig a little deeper, because that song is all about this.
Yeah, and it's that little bit that when I hear that though, it just makes me smile and a bit of joy. So no matter how dark and horrid it's got, it's something that just lifts you back up again. And it can make you...
But it's also the meaning of the song. Like, I can't even remember the princess's name. Tiana.
Yeah.
She doesn't even know what's being talked about that. She's just like, yeah, I've got to dig a little deeper and I've got to do this more. And it's like, no, you've got to actually find the things in life that make you happy. Yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean all that success. It's about the other things and it's about that joy. So yeah, that whole joy thing comes
into it. And I think, going back to what you're saying, is that we all feel that pressure. We've spoken about this in other ones about pressure of what you should get to. And I think whenever you take up a hobby, whether it's dancing, drama, or whether it's art, or learning to ride a bike or running, there's always that pressure put on you to kind of be the best or push up to the next bit. And by putting that pressure on, you sometimes lose sight of why you're doing it. And I think also in life, we also have pressures put on us about what's an acceptable journey or this or the other. And through that, we can then end up getting a bit of rut and feeling like we failed, or when we do come across failures or things come at us that we weren't expecting, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it's how do you find that joy, find your reasons, and how do you keep digging deep?
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's not easy. If anyone goes, you just need to dig a little deeper, yeah, no. It's so difficult, and you can't do it on your own. You need to have a tribe around you. You need to have that support. You need to have people who get you, who get who you truly are, not just who they think you should be.
Yeah, or do things in the way you think you should do for you. Yeah.
And are also the people there who can call you out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to be called out. Sometimes you just need someone just standing there and just giggling because they know you're doing something and thinking things through. We'll come to this story in a bit. But you can come up with all these ideas and have someone no, it's not the right time to go, nah, you're just being silly on that one. You have to go, sometimes you need to go through that process of searching and figuring out what it is that you need, so that you can get to that next stage.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you need to allow yourself to admit that you're at the bottom and admit that you've got stuck. I think when I first met you, I was very much at that stage of clinging on for dear life, pretending that everything was okay. And then I made a decision to go, no, I've got to stop, because if I don't, life's going to burn out. And I did stop and go, oh, life really hasn't worked out. I thought it was going to work out. All the hours I'd put into my career, I didn't throw it away, I just put it on pause. I had to stop because I had to be mum, I had to find my reason to dig deep again. I had to find what my joy was. I had to find what it was, because for years I had just been fighting for my 2 kids and just surviving. And you witnessed that from across the road, because we moved in opposite each other. And Becky's just mentioned about having to find the right people around you and your right tribe that get you, and by God, that is so important. And it was really weird because when we first met each other,
we were both so intimidated by the other one, and we hadn't told the other one this.
No,
it was hilarious.
And I was in a place where I was in so much self-doubt and everything, and I think both of us were for different reasons. And I remember hearing her singing out of her window, giving lessons, and I was like, oh my God, that's beautiful. And they were like, at the time when we'd moved in, it was a new housing estate, and the lady that sold us the house was like, Lindsay, I found you the best neighbour, it's going to be brilliant. The more she told me about her, the more I was scared to have a conversation with her, because I was like, oh my God, she's done this, this. And then you doubt yourself, because my journey was in the arts, but obviously different. And so in some ways it was kind of seen as not good enough. It was that whole old phrase of, what is it? You can do or can't do what you teach. What is it? What's the phrase?
Oh, if those who can teach, or those who can't teach.
Yeah, those who can't.
And it's scenario.
And you go, well, if you haven't made it in the arts world, well, then you end up being a teacher in the arts world. And actually, I know that's a load of coswallop now, by the way. It's an absolute load of rubbish. But listening to everything she'd done, and you just go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. But we just met each other at the right time, which allowed us to just enjoy each other and observe each other. And at those times where I was at rock bottom, or you were slowly deciding to allow people to see you on your not so good days, because that's another thing to figure. We'd knock on the door, we'd go for a dog walk, we'd have a giggle, we'd drink gin, we'd drink Prosecco. No, but we had those things, and then we never tried to inform each other's decisions. And in that, that's why we work, that's why BHVO has grown like this, because we allow each other to make those choices. We call each other out. We never give each other the answers for stuff. We always help each other figure it out, or we push each other to go, well, I'm not sure, or yes, you can do that, or you should do this. And we never give each other the answers we're looking for. We just encourage each other to find the answers for ourselves. And that's what we're so passionate about here, is helping others to find the answers for themselves. But that's really hard sometimes, and really, really tough. And sometimes you're lying in bed and you just want to roll over and you don't want to get up, you don't want to fight. I use that phrase all the time. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight to get through the day. I just want it simple, I want it easy. But life isn't simple and life isn't easy. However, there are choices you can make for yourself that make life simpler and easier. But it is about finding your reason to fight. And for so long for me, my reason to fight was to live up to the expectation of others, or it was fighting for my children because I wanted to make sure they were okay, or it was fighting for what I thought people thought of me, or the other people's perceptions, or it was fighting to make sure you'd hit the end goal that people thought you should be doing because that's what you're doing in a career. And actually now, the biggest thing I've learned is to just, it sounds selfish, but it's to fight for yourself and to have those barriers in place and to have those boundaries to make life a little bit easier while you're still having to fight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think some of our students have been in that situation as well, haven't they?
There's been quite a few.
Yes.
And they want the answers because they think that's what they need.
Yeah.
And you search for the answers and you go, oh, I'm going to go this way. Oh no. And then you flip and you go, I'm going to go this way. Oh no, I'm going to go this way. And actually what you need to do is take that pause, take that moment back. We talked about it in that one of our previous ones, is taking that moment, having that breath. But actually, whilst we were talking about it, I was also thinking about we talk about rest, we talk about silences in music as being just as important as the notes that you play. And it's those silences that can talk so much more than the actual sounds if you approach them and include them in the appropriate way. And actually we need to do that in life. We need to be silent at times. We need to just let things process. We need to think through, not focus on the problem. We need to think through all the different solutions, all the different outcomes that can come from it, and then go, well, if I want to go down that path, I'm going to go down that path. Maybe the right path, it might not be, but until you try, you don't know.
And you need to learn to let go.
Yes, that's a very.
And that's hard, really hard, because whatever's happened to you, or whatever processes you've gone through, whether it be a traumatic event, whether it be the loss of somebody, whether it be a moving house, whether it be a bad audition, it doesn't matter what it is, you carry that with you as part of your journey, and it's not forgetting about it. That's something completely different. If you're parking it in denial of it, then you're not processing, you're not learning, you're not growing from it. But it is about letting it go and letting it rest in the moment that it was in, and not carrying it with you.
Or you can flip it and turn it and you can accept it.
Yeah.
It's not just about letting go, it's about accepting it. It's about accepting what's happened, accepting how it has impacted on you, and going, do you know what? That's fine. And actually, it's letting go, but it's owning it. It's owning those things that have happened to you and going, actually, I'm not the person I am today without those things having happened.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that so many people need to remember, because they just look at all that negativity. And when you're going through something traumatic, you shrink, and you lose sight of who you are, you lose sight of everything. And you look back on it and you go, was I ever like that? How did I let myself? All of those things. And actually you can go, yeah, but I'm not the person I am today without those things. So actually, I'm in a better place because of it.
Oh, 100%, and it's giving yourself that chance to identify those changes that have grown you into a better person. So people associate something negative happening in the past or in a process of anything as then having a negative impact on you forever, but actually it's about not what happened to you, it's about how you deal with what happens to you. And it's about then going, well, yeah, I am not the same person because of that, but I am so much stronger, I am so much aware, I can prepare myself better because I've learned from it, and I can put limitations in place or boundaries to make sure that people don't necessarily take advantage in the future as well. So you actually go, oh, and it's putting the control back in your court rather than it being a shock that's happened as well.
Yeah. Everything changes, everything's always moving, the world is always turning. We're going back to some proper old cliches now. So you've got that world turning, nothing stays still. If it stays still, it falls behind, and it doesn't matter whether that's in your own personal life, in business, in family, in thoughts, in anything. If you stay still, everything's going to move on without you. You have to move, you have to evolve. You don't necessarily know where you're going to end up, and at those points where you feel like you have to stop, you might be just pausing, coming off that like hamster wheel for a bit, where you're just going, no, I just need a break, really do. My head's going, woohoo!
Do you know what, sorry, I'm going to say a really funny story. So my daughter's got a hamster, and sometimes I believe she's got one of these little tiny ones, and it's going on that wheel so fast, so out of control, it literally flies off the hamster wheel, right? And it suddenly goes, oh, what just happened then? And then it scurries back on and goes, right, I'm going to get on again. And it is that kind of, but it's too...
It is so that.
So like it.
Now that flying off and going, woohoo, could be for a few minutes, could be a few days, could be a few weeks, could be a few years.
But it's okay.
But that's allowed, and at that point, you don't need to dig deeper.
No.
It's
just
when you get
it.
back on that you've got to go, right. And you have to dig deeper because you've got to start the whole process again.
Or you might end up flying off that wheel again. So when I think about that little hamster, it gets back on. Instead of being quite as near the edge, it just puts himself a bit deeper in the wheel so that it's going to stay on. But it knows, it kind of learns from what it was doing sometimes. And you go, that's the same for us. But digging deep takes hard work.
It's hard. And digging deep doesn't have to happen when you are right down at the bottom of it. Because you can't. Sometimes physically, mentally, emotionally, it's just not possible. But you've got to make sure that you're set up so that when you are in a position to start digging again and digging yourself out of wherever it is, or digging through to the next level, because you can dig yourself up, you can dig yourself down, you get to choose that direction, crossways, slide, anywhere. You've got to make sure you've got the people around you to help you support with that, and it could be that they're there supporting you when you're like, I'm going to do this, and we are back to back flissing. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to try this instead. And you try one way and go, no, you try another way. And it may be that you go, no, it's too easy. This saw's moving. I'm going with the digging metaphor here, by the way. The saw's too easy. Oh, no, it's too much. Oh, it's just too rocky. You've got to find that right road for you.
And it's about, again, when you're digging, you don't just keep digging aimlessly, because if you just keep digging holes, they'll fill up with water, the sides will collapse on them. We was at the beach, we've taken the kids to the beach, haven't we, this holiday? And the amount of laughs we've had when the kids have dug a hole and the sides start collapsing, it's like, well, what have you got to do? You've got to do that. And so it's about digging and then putting the foundations in the place, and then you can carry on building on top. So, like for us, part of our foundations is finding the right people around us and finding the right people that will allow us to make our own choices again and empower ourselves to go, do you know what, I'm going to choose to do that, and if it goes wrong it's okay, because there's no real big deal to it, it doesn't matter, because actually the most important bit is that I chose to try something. And so yeah, it's not digging aimlessly, it's digging to put foundations in place to protect yourself.
Yeah.
And that's okay. People talk about walls a lot to me. Over the years, people have gone, you've put your walls up, you've put your walls up. I was like, too bloody right, I've put my walls up, because the world was not nice out there. And they needed putting up. And a close friend of mine the other day, instead of trying to say, you've got to take the walls down, because there's some change going on again at home at the minute, and I was going, you know, I'm always going to have some walls up, because I have to protect my world that I have then recreated for my family, including BHVA world and everything. Like, this is important, this is what matters to me. And they turned around, they went, well, you know, when you go to a castle and you see that the walls are up to protect what's inside, right? You went, they said keep them up. It's okay to keep those walls up, but I'm just going to be, you know, when you see those castle walls, you see that like extension that goes out to the side to make it stronger, to make sure they do stay up. Just see that as you've got people around you now that help you keep the ones up that you've built on purpose. Whereas everyone goes, oh, you need to take your walls down, you need to let people in. No, you don't. When you know what matters to you, when you know what you need to do to make it work for you, when you know the processes you've got to go through, you've then got to find the people who are going to support you in that journey and in that process. And yes, some of the walls you might chip a few windows out of occasionally because the view out there is quite nice, but you don't have to. Don't feel pressurised to take those walls down once you have dug deep to build yourself up.
And if you need to fight, don't be scared about letting the portcullis drop, getting that flaming oil and everything out to tip over the people that are trying to come in and actually ruin it for you.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to do that either.
Yeah.
That's that part of digging deeper. It's about knowing who you are and fighting for what you believe in. Having those values and that sense of knowing who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, helps to give you all those things so that you can do that.
And whether that could be in personal life, it could be in business. For us, we sit down quite often going, should we do that? Should we go there? Does it fit in with the values of what we're trying to do? No, and then it's quite easy to let go of it. It's quite easy to not go along with it. I met somebody at a roundtable discussion a few months ago, and they were talking about they made probably one of the worst financial mistakes in terms of business, and they'll always regret it because they could have been living quite a nice, comfortable life, selling their products into a rather large brand, but they didn't because that would have compromised their brand and their packaging and what their values were. So they made the decision at the time, the whole team around them was like, but what are you doing? This is securing our pensions, our future and everything. She went, because it doesn't stick with my values. And the whole team went, okay. So then they had to make it more difficult. Now they're flying and doing really well because they stuck to their values, and they've got so much respect from other people within the industry and the products, and it's, you know, it's within the beauty industry as well. So you go, it's a fight, tooth and nail kind of area, but they stuck to their values and they stuck to what was important. So to be able to dig deep, you need to find out what's important, to keep fighting, to bring that joy, to give you the energy, because then you stop questioning yourself about why you're doing it, because you know why. It's second nature to you. And just remember that those will change. What you think and believe in now and how you feel now will be different to 2-5 years down the line, and that's allowed as well. You have to keep coming back and checking it out and actually getting off and having that pause moment. So you can go reevaluate, this is where I'm at now, this is where we are at now. Okay, let's go on. Now we know we can go there. So build your castle, be the hamster, allow people around you to support those walls, and dig deep when you're ready, but don't give up, because every single person, every single individual we come across has something unique to offer this world, and a fight to be heard, because it's worth fighting for. Yeah. And that's it. We'll see you next time. Bye.